In this video, I want to discuss what a Band 9 answer to the IELTS writing task number 1 would look like. That is, let's talk about what you need to do to get the highest score you can. And let's cheat by using a sample of something that will get a Band 8 or 9 score. I've picked a new graph here. This is a bar chart, and let's look closely at what the bar chart is showing us. There are 6 countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. It's UAE. It's comparing the oil production capacity, or the amount of oil produced in these 6 countries in the period or the years 1990, 2000, 2005, 2010. You'll notice there's a 10-year gap there, 5 and 5. And the amounts given are in millions of barrels per day. The other feature of this graph is you can clearly see that Saudi Arabia produces by far the most oil, whereas Qatar produces the least. And the other 4 countries are roughly the same, or approximately the same. So, how are we going to write this? The same way we always do. Let's do that now. This is the model answer provided on the website. The bar chart illustrates the estimated amount of oil produced in 6 countries between 1990 and 2010, measured in millions of barrels per day. Standard answer we've all been practicing. The type of chart compares or illustrates the title, estimated amount of oil produced in 6 countries between 1990, this is the time period, and measured in millions of barrels per day. Simple, perfect. And if you don't know what UAE is, it's 7 emirates or states that formed a federation. So it's not really a country, and that's why we would say the UAE as a country name. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, or Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, and these others. Good luck pronouncing that. So that's what the UAE is. They're all in the Middle East, which is where most of the oil is produced, right there in Russia. I've written an alternate answer here that includes the name of the countries. You'll notice in the suggested answer, or the perfect answer, they don't list the countries. And when there's 6 countries, it's a bit, it increases the word count significantly. But this is how you would do it. The bar chart compares the estimated amount of oil production capacity measured in millions of barrels per day between 1990 and 2010 in 6 countries, and here's the list: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. There's your suggested answers, and I would say that this is what they think is a band 9. Perhaps stick with that. In the next sentence or paragraph, as it is, we're going to make an overall summation of what we can see, and we start with overall, comma, just like we have been doing in all the other examples. Oil production capacity tended to increase during this 20-year period. As 20 years between 1990 and 2010. The figures for Saudi Arabia were significantly higher than in the other countries, while production was lowest in Qatar. Exactly what I said before. That's it. You've stated the biggest and the smallest, right? The superlatives. The greatest number, the smallest number. And now let's talk about the next paragraph, where we're going to talk about the other countries a little bit more. from 1990 to 2010, there was a significant increase in oil production in Saudi Arabia. So what they're saying is there's a jump here, and then it went right up here and then right up here. So it's increased significantly, not steadily. So that's worth noting. This is a steady increase, so is this, so is that. That fluctuates, and there's a steady increase here. But this has an increase is significant. Okay, let's talk about some more detail here. From 1990 to 2010, there was a significant increase in oil production in Saudi Arabia. And then it actually specifies what those numbers are. And here's the contrast. We have to contrast. What we're doing here is contrasting the biggest and the smallest. So we're just talking about Qatar and Saudi Arabia at the moment. In contrast, the smallest producer was Qatar. Despite a slight increase in 2000, production in Qatar remained relatively stable at less than 1 million barrels per day. So you've compared here the biggest and the smallest. Next paragraph, the other, and I would say the other 4 countries, saw a slight rise in oil production over the period. That's true, they didn't increase by much. The estimated figure for Iran in 19, and now it talks about how many. And it's just comparing all the figures there. That's it. So that's the total there. I'll make it 199 words because I added 4 countries. So the rest of the, after the introduction, the other paragraphs are just comparing the data. And so you need to use words like slight increase, significant increase, decrease, remaining steady, the keywords to compare. You can add the actual amount of barrels per day. Much easier to read a graph than it is to read a description. That's it. That's how you get a band 9. This is a model answer. And what I would suggest going forward is that when you're practicing writing about any sort of chart, you can use this as a template and try and replicate or duplicate or copy this format. I also note that the task requires 150 words only, a minimum of 150 words. So it could be that you might want to not include a lot of these figures. Anyway, that's a band 9 writing task 1 for IELTS. Hopefully that helps you a little bit.